Hey YouTube, got a nice one for you here. I want people to pay attention. Kat Kamek, I left a video the other day. She was talking about how the Democrats um, try to use social media to censor us, and also how the FBI was in cahoots with Ukraine trying to infringe on our First Amendment rights. You guys might want to listen to this and try to connect some dots here. It's kind of interesting. Here we go.
I have to bring this up, and since the door was opened, I'm deeply concerned about the fact that there were FEC reports brought up. Mr. Kennedy, you acknowledge that you don't know where those came from. You said that you have no affiliation with those, that PAC, that super PAC, I believe. The ranking member said she was deeply concerned about the affiliation, and we seem to have a guilty by association theme going on here. And so I just have to state for the record that I myself am deeply concerned about the affiliation of the convicted sex trafficker, Jeffrey Epstein, of which the ranking member took campaign donation money from. So I think that's the beauty of the First Amendment, is that we have a right.
Did you guys catch that? Jeffrey Epstein was donating to Democratic officials. And it's funny how that movie, Sound of Freedom, comes out, and you see CNN and the liberal media and all that trying to downplay that movie. Makes you wonder exactly who's pulling the strings. I mean, it's funny how it's the people on the left complaining about that movie and making all kinds of false accusations and pretending like it doesn't exist, that the child sex trafficking and the women sex trafficking and all that is being blown out of proportion, that it's people on the right that are creating this boogeyman. But here we are, and with people in front of Congress, and she's saying that Jeffrey Epstein donated. Kind of strange, especially when they said that there's a rumor saying that Clinton spent a lot of time with Jeffrey Epstein. Makes you wonder why they're trying to downgrade that movie, Sound of Freedom, and how they're ignoring the fact that 85,000 illegal immigrant children have gone missing. It's disgusting. But that's something for people to open up their eyes and start investigating and start finding out what the hell is going on. I tell you, the Democratic Party, the powers that be, a lot of people on the left with their agenda, especially with their agenda exploiting kids in school with the transgenderism and all this sexualization and everything that's going on. It's pretty sickening. It really, really is. But people need to start paying attention.
To say what we want to say, but we also have the right to be offended. So I just wanted to point that out, glass houses and all. Our Democrat colleague, Mr. Lynch, opened up the door of what does the impact of the continued narrative of weaponization have on the general public? And I think that's really important, because what we have seen in the last couple of weeks is irrefutable evidence of the fact that the FBI has not only been systematically working to censor American speech, but they have been facilitating it, and in some cases at the behest of foreign governments. A weaponization report proved that there was a direct connection between the Ukrainian SBU, in which that intelligence service was sending spreadsheets of thousands of posts, in some cases posts that were belonging to the United States State Department. And because we know that the Ukrainian SBU is rife with double agents, the FBI wasn't even vetting the posts. They were simply sending them direct to the social media companies saying, please take these down. So now we have an FBI that is not just saying that they're going to fight foreign interference, they're facilitating it. At one point even suggesting that they put forward a 24/7 channel where the FBI takes requests from a foreign government and filters it right to the social media company to have those posts taken down. And
Another thing you heard what she said. Also, your man that played the guy that was rescuing children in the movie Sound of Freedom, not the actor, the actual guy. Um, he's on he's on the internet. Look it up. You don't have to take my word for it. But he says that there's a lot of child kidnapping and abduction and stuff like that in Ukraine. So it's really horrific the way all this information is coming out and the way it's all boiling into this giant uh, like double-headed snake, I guess you can say, or you know, it's like a snake with a head on either side, just going full circle, trying to eat itself. Um, it really makes you wonder what the hell is going on in this day and age, especially when it comes to leftist politicians around the world, all these corrupt governments. The way everything is tying in with money, corruption, all these foreign powers trying to tell us what we can and cannot say on our own fucking soil, you know, and they want to go unchecked, and they're in cahoots once again, like I said, with the Biden administration, with the Obama administration. People are just not understanding and putting these things together, but more and more proof is coming out. And hats off to this woman right here. She's always been very, very outspoken. And she comes with a lot of checks and balances. A lot of people don't like her. I should say people on the left, because she comes basically balls out, and she just like I said, comes with the checks and balances. She does a real good job.
It was across the board, anti-Ukraine, pro-Ukraine. That right there proves that they weren't vetting the posts. That's a problem. We've established clearly with hard evidence that there is in fact a weaponization of the federal government against the American people, and every single day that we do not acknowledge it is a bad day in America. The pillars of our constitutional republic, not democracy, are being taken down bit by bit because the press is being told they can't ask the tough questions. Ms. Morris, you have probably received threats, you have been censored, you have been silenced. Mr. Sauer, you have been before us many times, and you have expressed the pushback, the threats that you have received. Mr. Kennedy, I can't imagine what you receive on a daily basis from both the left and the right. So I'm going to go to our Democratic colleague, Mr. Lynch, and ask the question, what impact does the continued narrative of weaponization have on the general public? I know he framed this in a way to make a point that it is somehow negative to ask the tough questions, but I'm going to ask our three witnesses here. What are the ramifications if we don't talk about it, if we don't expose it? And I only have 25 seconds, so Mr. Sauer, take it away.
If federal censorship is not stood up to aggressively, it will expand to every corner of the planet.
Sorry about the audio. I don't know what he said.
It's just this, I can't even believe this is a conversation. Like, this is not controversial or taboo. We live in the United States of America, and you have the right to say whatever you want, to print whatever you want, and...
Matter of fact, this lady right here was I think, lead editor or journalist, and she was fired for putting out information about, I believe, the Hunter Biden laptop. There's another video of her talking. She actually laughs. She thinks it's hilarious, the hypocrisy that's going on. And I believe, if I don't want to be mistaken, but I believe it was for the New York Post or the Times, one of those that she was working for actually. And she laughs, and it's funny that she's laughing at it because in her eyes it's just like the hypocrisy. Here in the country, our First Amendment it's our First Amendment for a reason. And yet that in this day and age we're being censored only by one side, and a lot of people tell me, when you start this YouTube channel you got to be very careful. Let me tell you something. This is America, okay? The First Amendment gives us the freedom to say what we want, provided that we don't scream fire in a crowded theater. We don't make any threats or anything like that. I'm not making no threats. I'm not doing anything wrong, but just pointing out facts. The kind of language that I use should be no more offensive than the language that is being forced upon me by the left. So, in other words, my opinion on that is kiss my ass. Okay? You want me to kiss your ass? That's not going to happen. Okay? You can kiss my ass. Because I think that's a problem right now with a lot of social media platforms, where everybody's so afraid to say what they want because they feel like well, not that they feel like, but they are being canceled by a very small group, you know, and it's just not right, you know. So, not that I want to get banned from any platform, especially since I'm starting out, but the truth is, you know what, we need to get back to the truth. When you get back to the truth, everything will work itself out. But to live in a lie, it just snowballs, and it keeps becoming a bigger lie and a bigger lie and a bigger lie, and all you have is chaos. All you have is chaos. And I'm actually glad with Kennedy over here on the side, speaking out, because he was from a time where, you know, Democrats supposedly were the good guys, you know, with John F. Kennedy and, you know, Robert Kennedy, and so he knows and he sees the hypocrisy, and he said it himself, he has seen how the left has gotten so extreme politically, governmentally, socially, in society, that it's not, you know, in his eyes, it's not the Democrats of old that really stood for people being able to, you know, speak their mind, you know, have choices and stand up for each other, whether, you know, you agree with them or not, but it was still your right to express yourself. So these are things that are going on, and people need to pay attention and hold true. Don't give up and don't get scared. You know, a lot of people afraid, and I get it, but you just can't. You can't let them win. You can't, and actually they're not winning, because more and more people are speaking out, more and more people are opening up, more and more people are putting out a lot more content on every platform, you know. So what I say is keep pushing forward and keep up the good work, you know. And it's not about bad mouthing people, because to me, bad mouthing someone is saying lies about them, you know, or insulting them because you just don't like them. But speaking the truth against somebody who's corrupt, that's not bad mouthing them. That is pointing out the obvious, which is you're pointing out a fact that they're wrong, they're liars, they're sneaky, they're corrupt, they're wicked, they're evil, and that's basically what it is. It's not about just pointing at a good person and, you know, bad mouthing them just because you feel like you know you have the right to, even though there's a lot of people on the left that do that because they think they had that right, but they're getting shut down. More and more every day, they're getting shut down. So that's my opinion.
To read whatever you want.
Mr. Kennedy.
A government that can censor its critics has license for every atrocity. It is the beginning of totalitarianism. There's never been a time in history when we look back and the guys who were censoring people were the good guys. All of us grew up reading Arthur Koestler, Robert Heinlein, Aldous Huxley, George Orwell, and they were all saying the same thing. Once you start censoring, you're on your way to dystopia and totalitarianism.
And I know my time has expired, but Mr. Sauer, you said earlier, censorship is about power. Censorship is about control. And the entire progressive leftist agenda is about nothing more than dependency and control. That is why this is so important. With that, I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. Gentleman from New York is recognized.
And there you go, people, you know, and it's true. You know, the censorship that's going on the internet and outside in the street and the colleges and all that, that is, you know, the epitome of communists, of socialism, communism, Marxism, you know, Nazism, you know, Maoism, you know, Stalinism, you know, they censored the population. And that was for, if you can control the narrative, that's power. You can stop them from speaking, that's power. So think of it this way. The First Amendment, we have the right, freedom of speech. The Second Amendment is the right to keep and bear arms. The way it starts with a lot of these countries, it's you can't say this, you got to think this way. And then right after that, let's go take the guns away. and then let's take away another right and another right and another right. Right now in Australia, a woman got arrested a while ago. She was in front of an abortion clinic. I believe it was Australia. She was in front of an abortion clinic, not talking, just thinking. Cops came up to her, asked her what she was doing, and I believe she said she was standing there, and they asked her, was she praying? And she said yes. She was basically praying in her head. She got arrested for standing in the street and just being quiet, just praying in her head. She got arrested for standing in front of an abortion clinic, praying, obviously, for the women that were in there, the workers, and the unborn babies that were probably, most likely going to be ripped out of their mother's wombs. And this is in Australia, and what a lot of people don't understand, that Australia at one time was a penal colony where they sent all their derelicts, and here they are centuries later, and they've gone back to like a penal colony, like they're being policed all over again, and it's sick. It's really sick, when you have a group of people, a branch of government, and this is not just in America. This is in Canada. This is in the UK. This is in Australia, in China, North Korea. They teach people in North Korea when they're like praising Kim Jong-un, how to cry and weep and wail, and they think that that's the best way, and they're so conditioned mentally, socially, to give in to their overlord. And this is what the Democrat Party and the leftists here in the United States, not all, I'd say 95% though, and around the world, this is what they're trying to do. I was looking at an article today where Justin Trudeau in Canada, they said if they took a vote right now, if their voting laws were different, because they're very draconian, that he'd be booted out of power because he only has like a 37% favorability rate. 37%. And look at what Canada is going through. Especially when they shut down the truckers, the trucker convoy, when they were protesting about the COVID vaccine mandates and all that. And they shut down their bank accounts. They shut them down on social media. They told them what they couldn't and could not say. They were arresting people at their homes. That's a leftist strategy. That's a communist strategy. That's a socialist strategy. Even Justin Trudeau said that, he idolizes the way China, runs their country. He blatantly said it straight out. And I'm sorry. But the people in Canada should have protested about that, because they have somebody in power who idolizes communism. Communism. And here in America, we have people like AOC, one of the founders to Black Lives Matter. She said herself that that she is a Marxist and communist. You cannot have these people in a country where we have freedoms trying to run shit. It's not the way it goes. That is not the epitome of freedom. Giving up your freedom is not the epitome of freedom. That's not freedom. It's bullshit. But the mind control, the mindset that they have to make people, what I call, they make them butterheads. Their heads just turn to butter. Their brains turn to butter. But I'm glad these people are speaking out, especially Kennedy. He's a Democrat, but he's being vilified by the Democrats for going against them. But he's not going against them in the sense that he's just trying to kiss ass. No, he's actually believing in he's believing in the way it was when he was growing up back in the 60s. That Democratic Party back then, very few of them strayed away from the way the Democratic Party now has turned so far to the left. There's a lot of Democrats that are his age, if not older, but they basically, like you can say, they've sold their souls for power. Where this man, right now, hands down, if they had a vote right now, he'd beat Biden hands down. In a perfect world, I should say, because the only way he could probably do that is if the Republicans could vote for him just to beat the Democratic Party, because the Democrats ain't gonna do it. Or maybe they will. Maybe the ones that are changing their ways, maybe the independents, the one instead of them becoming independent or Republican, they'll say, we'll vote for him. You know, and that would, in my opinion, that would be a good thing because he's a Democrat, just like, you know, Tulsi Gabbard was. But sometimes I feel a little suspect about her. But I mean, she definitely she definitely stands for a lot of things the way the Republicans do. But this is what's going on, and it's a lot of it's being exposed, and that's a good thing. And that's what we got to keep doing. We got to keep shining that light on that darkness. And I encourage a lot of people to speak up and don't be afraid, especially when it comes to the kids in the schools, at the workplace. I had to do a survey, 7 questions. 2 of them were about something that I like. The other 5 was questioning my sexuality. If I was non-binary, if I'm part of the LGBTQ community. I mean, I'm like, and I'm thinking in my head, what the fuck does this got to do with me? Like, what kind, why even ask that survey? It's just bullshit the way they're trying to, like, push it into society. Listen, I don't care what you do with your body as an adult. I do care what you do to children, especially if you're going to hurt them. And I definitely do care if you're going to, push something on me. It's like, I don't care about your gender. I really don't. I'm a straight Native American Latin male born and raised in the Bronx. Nobody likes it. That's not my fucking problem. I don't go around looking at people's sexuality. But that was just my little, piece of info right there. But these are the things that are going on, and I really hope people would, at least have an open-ended discussion if they're going to leave a comment, not just trying to badmouth me. Because, like I said, if you do, you're just wasting seconds of your life, trying to put me down. But if again, just subscribe, share, like, thumbs up, please, and remember, stay vigilant, keep praying, and pray for each other. Peace.